All right, guys, this is Brett, and this is the Christian Rebel. I hope all of you are having an awesome day. I know I am. Took the day off. I'm having a pretty good day. Anyway, so in this video, I just finished watching the latest interview between Piers Morgan and Wesley Huff, and it was a great interview. I recommend that you go watch it. I'm going to have a link in the description, but at the end, they talked about demons and angels and the supernatural, and I found it super interesting, and I'm going to give you my take on it. And I got some Bible verses that I want to share with you. So let's listen to what they had to say. Take it away, Pearson
Just
West.
finally on the Bible, it also talks about things like angels and demons and stuff like that, which people point to as, well, obviously that can't be true. I mean, what do you say to people when they raise things like angels and demons?
Well, I mean, it's starting with the assumption that the supernatural doesn't exist. And I simply, I don't think that's true. I mean, there are all sorts of things that, from, say, a secular materialistic perspective, are far more of needing an explanation than the existence of supernatural beings. I mean, my friend Glenn Scrivener out in the UK, who runs an organization called Speak Life, he talks about this a lot, where, there are things that atheists and secular materialists have to account for, things like everything coming from nothing, order coming from chaos, life emerging from non-life, minds that, from mindless matter. Is it more of a leap in logic to believe in angels and demons, or that everything came from nothing, Pierce? That order came from chaos, that life emerged from non-life, and that mind formed from mindless matter?
I have always said, if you're an atheist, it takes more faith to believe that matter came from nothing, that things came from nothing, than it does to believe in God. It takes more faith to believe that things recreated from nothing than to be a Christian, in my opinion. Because to have things come from nothing, you've got to have such amazing faith. So, yeah, it takes more faith to be an atheist, in my opinion, than it does to be a Christian. Because Christianity, to me, explains where we came from. It explains where we're going. It explains who our Creator is and who died for us. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent here. Let's let them finish up.
I would say these are answers that, arguably, in terms of the topic of what we're, on the eve of Easter, the resurrection is not one more absurdity. Neither are angels or demons, but the resurrection, I think, actually is the explanation that makes sense of the supernatural world
Amen.
that we see talked about in, all sorts of religious perspectives. And I think that people will assume that the supernatural can't exist, and yet at the exact same time, they will, as a conscious human being in a world where we're still not really entirely sure what consciousness is, try to explain logically some of these things when, the rules of logic exist objectively, and yet they are outside of time and matter and space. And so there are obviously things that things like science and secular materialism can't account for. And I have no qualms saying that supernatural beings exist in light of this very strange supernatural world that we live in.
You know what? I completely agree. And it comes back to what I started this interview with, which was when I debate with atheists and so on who mock me for having any kind of faith in God or whatever. I say, well, you cannot explain to me what was there before your Big Bang. You cannot explain what was there when it was nothing. You can't even explain what nothing is. So because the human brain cannot understand that, as I said at the start, then to me, there must be super beings, entities out there. And all right, I've chosen, because I was raised as a Catholic, I've chosen to take a certain path of my belief and faith system and so on. But actually, the idea that there can't be anything supernatural when a human brain cannot explain basic things like what was there before your Big Bang or whatever, that to me is the evidence I need. Of course, there must be stuff that is more powerful than humans, because otherwise we would be able to explain all that stuff, and we can't.
I think that's exactly right, Pearson. And Joe and I talked about that on my episode on the JRE, in that some people believe in the virgin birth and others believe in the virgin birth of the universe. And so a Big Bang requires a Big Banger. And so I think it's not entirely a leap. find an explanation for that, right? Something like survival of the fittest doesn't explain the arrival of the fittest. There are still explanations
Right.
for origin questions that I think, we can ascribe it to, like Lawrence Krauss wants to do, nothing. But then he has to define nothing, and you find out he actually doesn't think nothing means no thing.
So we're gonna stop it there, but I recommend you guys go watch this video because it was a great interview. So about what they said about the supernatural, I totally agree. It takes more faith to be an atheist. It takes more faith to believe that matter came from nothing, that chaos came from nothing, order was created out of chaos, a big bang explosion. Wes Huff said it correctly. If there was a big bang, it needed the big banger. It needed God. Like I always have when I have a talk with an atheist, we go something like this: a creation needs a creator, just like a work of art needs an artist. Like the buildings we live in and stay in and work in, it needs a builder, it needs a contractor. It needs someone to raise that building up. It doesn't raise it up by itself. To me, it's complete common sense that the supernatural exists, that demons are real, the angels are real, Christ died on the cross for us, God created the universe and this planet and you and me. So I'm going to end this video with 2 Bible verses. Let me share them with you. The first one comes from 1 Timothy chapter 4, verses 1 and 2. The Spirit clearly says that in latter times, some will abandon the faith and follow deceiving spirits and things taught by demons. Question for you. Could the theory of evolution be a theory or a thing taught by demons to convince people not to believe in Christ? Verse 2, such teachings come through hypocritical liars whose consciences have been seared as with a hot iron. Excuse me. So what do you guys think? Some teachings come through hypocritical liars whose conscience have been seared as with a hot iron. Things taught by demons. They abandon the faith. They do not believe in God. They believe our earth was created out of a big bang, or the universe is created out of a big bang. To me, it makes perfect sense that there is a supernatural. God created the heavens and the earth. There are demons and angels. Satan is the god of this world, and he will deceive people in any way he can. The final verse comes from 1 John chapter 4, verses 1 through 3. God is telling us to do something. Dear friends, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God, because many false prophets have gone out into this world. This is how you can recognize the Spirit of God. Every spirit that acknowledges that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is from God, but every spirit that does not acknowledge Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have heard is coming and even now is already in the world. So, atheism, and not believing in God or not believing in the supernatural. Could this belief come from a false prophet or a false teacher? And God has told us to test all things. I believe we test things that are given to us in this world, whether it be atheism. Put it to the test. I urge all of you to put it to the test and see if it's true. I can't find a reason. I'm not a scientist. I just mere common sense for me. I cannot find a way to explain atheism or things that things were created from nothing. When I look out into this world or I take a hike in the forest, it is proof enough to me that God exists and that creation need a creator. To me, it's just common sense. So what do you guys think of this video? Comment below. I would love to hear from all of you. And if you like good Christian content, guess what you need to do? Or I would like you to do. Please like, subscribe, and share, and hit that notification bell so you know when I have more great content come out. Love you guys. I'm praying for you. Always choose that narrow path. Be a rebel and follow Jesus. And until next time, keep the faith. And I'll see you later.